Yesterday there were no, now it is full. Okay. Give to her also. Oh.
Okay. See you after.
Thank you. Thank you. Yesterday there were no, now it is full.
So day by day, I am improving myself with the help of Brother Shikhar Agnihotri.
Yes, yes, yes. We all are. We all are benefited.
I am learning day by day, movement to movement. Yesterday, I was a little novice how to connect, even though I have tried earlier, but he guided me at night to do this, that also.
Yes, you have been accustomed with the laptop, etc., and you will learn soon. I know.
No, I am learning from others.
Okay, it is good.
Okay, sir. We will start with now the one can join with the
Universal prayer.
universal prayer, sir.
Can I start with?
Yes, sir. We remain all be requested to remain silent.
O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Good afternoon to you all. Today, our speaker is Brother C.S. Sindhe. No need of introduction. He is very well known to us. And today is the last day. I now request Brother C.S. Sindhe to continue his speech. Sir, you are becoming dark little. Professor Sindhe is out of net. So let us wait for a moment. Let us test our patience. Sir, you unmute yourself. You have given the option, sir.
Yes. There is disturbance in our Adar light fluctuations.
Okay, sir. Now it is okay.
Okay, okay. Now it's okay?
Yes, sir. you little remain back, little back. That is true. That is good. Yes.
Good evening, brothers and sisters. Hearty greetings and good wishes from Adair to you all. As we know, on the eve of the White Lotus Day, the death anniversary of H.P. Blavatsky, our spiritual teacher and co-founder of the Theosophical Society, a special meeting is arranged nationally, internationally, and in all the lodges or federations all over the world. It is to pay homage and adoration to all great souls, including H.P. Blavatsky. And we know the lectures are arranged on Bhagavad Gita, Light of Asia, Voice of the Silence, and especially life and work of H.P. Blavatsky. This is how we celebrate White Lotus Day. At the outset, I would like to send my greetings and good wishes from Adair for the success of the anniversary celebration tomorrow in all lodges, sections, internationally, and federations. Let me mention here the deep resolution we have to do on this day. And I am going to mention here the deep resolution or the pledged service of our President Founder, Colonel Alcott, which he mentioned or he gave in his inaugural address during the foundation of the Theosophical Society, which I quote here, because this is the deep resolution and pledged service to the Theosophical Society that he took on to serve the humanity at large. So I quote that one. It is important to know to everybody. And he writes, for if I understand the spirit of the society, for if I understand the spirit of this society, it consecrates itself to the study of truth. It consecrates itself to the study of truth. So this is the first resolution. He writes this sentence, if I understand the spirit of this society, it consecrates itself to the study of truth. So we all are resolving ourselves to be a real seeker of truth. Then the second sentence he says, it binds itself individually as collectively. Again here, he definitely mentions that human consciousness is one if single person resolves that affects the whole society. So it binds itself individually as well as collectively. And further he writes, I can only say that either it come well or come ill, my heart, my soul, my mind, and my strength are pledged to this course. And I shall stand fast while I have a breath of life in me to stand alone. See, even if he is alone, he is determined to work and serve the society and the masters of the wisdom. Further he writes, but I shall not be alone, nor will be the TS, that is Theosophical Society, be alone. So this indicates that nobody is alone. They are there behind us as the guardian wall. They are always helping us. That is what all it indicates. Brothers and sisters, because of this deep resolution and pledged service, of our great president founder, H.S. Alcott, enabled him to give to the world a wonderful organization, the International Organization of the Theosophical Society, which is definitely well organized and deeply, rather, it has got deep foundation of truth and brotherhood. So when we come to as TS is rather it was the whole responsibility of Colonel Alcott. In the same manner, yesterday we discussed, esoteric school of Theosophy was the sole responsibility of H.P. Blavatsky. And our fourth international president, C. Jinras Das, quotes the words of second international president, Annie Besant, and her beautiful words about the H.P. Blavatsky, because Annie Besant was telling that H.P. Blavatsky was her teacher and she was always a disciple of H.P. Blavatsky. And our C. Jinras Das quotes the words of Annie Besant about this H.P. Blavatsky, and I will read here. Anyone who carefully studies the life of H.P. Blavatsky will quickly note that one of her most important activities was her formation of the esoteric school of the Theosophical Society. This name was later changed to the Eastern School of Theosophy, and that body is today known as the Esoteric School, or ES in brief. HPB explains why she formed the ES, and she also mentioned in her collected writings and in her esoteric instructions book that in the beginning there were not only the TS and ES, but there was one more section. So she mentions there were 3 sections. Section 1 was of adepts or the masters of the wisdom. Section 2 was of those who are pledged and dedicated to the service of the master, and the 3rd was to the general member of the Theosophical Society. So the section 1st was of the masters, section 2nd was of the ES, and section 3rd is of Theosophical Society. So this indicates that the importance of this ES. ES is the connection between the first section and second, the Theosophical Society. So those who are really dedicated workers of the Theosophical Society, those who are pledged to serve the humanity through the Theosophical Society, through them, whatever help is to be given to the world, that is given by these masters of the wisdom. Of course, that help is invisible help. And many people ask, but it is true that in the initial stages of the Theosophical Society, masters, they directly instructed to the members with the, with the letters. And we have been studying those Mahatma letters. So the first requirement, as it indicates, to be a ES member is to have a living faith in the masters of the wisdom. And those who are having living faith, those who are having no doubt, doubt itself is the stumbling block. If you have living faith in the masters of the wisdom, if you are having living faith in the helping hand behind you, then only you can pledge yourself to the service of the humanity, and there will be definitely help from the, what we say, there will be grace from above, but for that purpose there has to be devotion from the below. Then only there will be grace from above. So on page number 60, in the book, the original program of the TS and preliminary memorandum of the esoteric school, it is mentioned the value of the work of this section, esoteric section, to the individual member will definitely depend entirely upon, number one, the person's power to assimilate the teachings and make them a part of being. So this indicates we must deepen our understanding. That is our mission. And once you understand the truth of the or teachings of the theosophy, then the theosophy will be developed, and that becomes the power to live rightly and to act rightly. So this is what making theosophy a living power means. You begin to conduct yourself. That is what we call good conduct. Then the second point, it is mentioned in this book. The first point is the person's power to assimilate the teachings and make them a part of the being. And second, upon the unselfishness of the motives with which he seeks for the knowledge. That is to say, upon whether he has entered this section determined to work for humanity, or with only the desire to benefit or gain something for himself alone. There are many members out of curiosity. They want to know about the esoteric school of theosophy. They want to enter the Theosophical Society. But it is clearly mentioned in this that whether he has entered the section determined to work for humanity or with only the desire to benefit or gain something for himself alone. So this depends upon the unselfishness of the motives. So what is motive behind it? Even if today we are discussing, what is the motive to know about the esoteric school of theosophy? Of course, the esoteric school of theosophy is not secret. It is private. Unnecessarily we don't discuss. If you have really curiosity, if you are really wanted to be fit and purify yourself and be selected for that higher work, then perhaps to such persons the instructions or knowledge is given. And further, on this page number 60, it is said, let all members therefore take warning in time and seriously examine into their motives, because to all those who join this section, certain consequences will ensure. So if your motives are not good, if you have some hidden agenda of selfishness and somehow forcibly entered into this esoteric school of theosophy, definitely you have to bear some consequences. And sometimes if there is no purity, that may harm you and your health and also the whole group which is working under their guidance. And at this stage, it is perhaps better that the applicant should learn the reason for the formation of this section and what it is expected to achieve. Further, HPB writes, the Theosophical Society had just entered upon the 14th year of its existence. So this is what she is right in preliminary memorandum. After 14 years of establishment of the Theosophical Society, what is the result, she writes? And she says, it has accomplished a great, one may almost say, it has accomplished a stupendous results only on the exoteric and utilitarian side, and not in spiritual or moral side. And really very pinching words he has used. TS had proved a dead failure on all those points. See, what is expected from the esoteric school of section is we must prepare ourselves, we must purify ourselves, and we must develop morally and spiritually. Moral development involves the feeling of oneness should be developed. Feeling of theosophical attitude should be developed. It is only then you can say you are morally evolving. That is what we use the word compassion, empathy, sympathy. All these are included in this theosophical attitude or altruistic service. So if this is done, then that is called moral development. Spiritual development involves actually the purity and become the fit to serve or extend our helping hands in the work of the masters of the wisdom who are looking after the evolution of humanity. And that is what H.P. Blavatsky, as the head of this theosophical esoteric school of theosophy, she said, you must have open your mind. It should not be conditioned. Open your mind and see that there are many impurities or motives in your heart. So purify your heart, open your mind, and this can be happened if you are really eager to open your mind and pure your heart. That eager intellect definitely help you to do this. And with this open mind and pure heart, and with this alert and attentiveness, you can lead a life which is a clean life. This is what she instructed. And once you started living this, examine yourself whether you are brotherly in the group, whether you are really ready to receive the instructions given by them, or whether you are also ready to give certain good suggestions for the improvement of the Theosophical Society. All this you have to examine yourselves. And besides this, you must develop a loyal sense of duty to the teachers. Again, who are the teachers? Here again the question comes. Either you believe in the masters of the wisdom or you believe in yourself. Self-reliance is the important thing. You believe in your higher self. You are the God and you are the master potentially. So that kind of loyalty of duty to the teacher. So once you understand what you are and why you are, then you will begin to be loyal to your conscience, and your conscience becomes awake. It is this leads one to the willingly obediating to our own inner voice. And then, as it is said, once you enter into the Theosophical Society, there is definitely some consequences, because we are not pure, we are not perfect. but we are on the line of perfection. So when we are not pure and perfect, there has to be certain consequences. We have to bear and courageously endure them up to the end, such as out of misunderstanding, we decide ourselves there are personal injustice, and in that case, we are also frightened or fearful to declare the theosophical principles. So all these need to be attentively attended, and then that is personal. Then you must also attend to the other. If there is injustice outside, if anybody is violently attacked, then you must protect them, and thus you must develop a constant eye, constant attentiveness, constant attention to the human progression and perfection of the humanity. HPB has said, you cannot do good yourself unless you do to the others. So the first preference should be the others and not for oneself. So making this clear, we must understand whether we have to enter into this school or not. That is left to you. And then let me tell, if our former international president Radha Bernier, she made it clear to all the members who are becoming the new members. In the beginning only, she has declared this esoteric school of theosophy is there. So if you read her letter sent to the new members of the Theosophical Society, in that she mentions, and I will read that one to you. She mentions there is an esoteric school connected with the Theosophical Society, and those who have been members of the society for a certain time and who fulfill the required conditions, only such members may enter if they wish. The esoteric school is meant for all those who wish to live truly theosophical lives, and not merely to study theosophy and allied subjects. And she writes, wisdom comes to those whose minds are capable of receiving it, and members of the esoteric school prepare themselves by self-reliance and by a life of purity and self-discipline to become worthy to serve. So these are the beautiful words, very clearly Radha Bernier mentions as the head of the esoteric section that time. And she writes, the esoteric school is independent of the Theosophical Society. They are separate organizations. However, all ES members must be active member of the TS. But unlike TS, which serves both its members and public, the ES is a private community. Its meetings, communications, study materials, or retreats and other programs are limited to members. See, our esoteric section is not secret. It is definitely open. It is given when you enter into the Theosophical Society as a member of the Theosophical Society. In that letter only it is mentioned. And when we study the history of the society, if you see the history, H.P. Blavatsky founded the ES in 1888. and remained as its head until her death in 1891. We are celebrating her death anniversary actually. So in this official announcement, even founder President Colonel Olcott said, I am giving this history. Colonel Olcott said, the constitution and sole direction of the esoteric section is vested in Madam H.P. Blavatsky as its head. She is solely responsible to the members of the members. She is solely responsible to the members for results. And the section has no official or corporate connection with the exoteric society, the TS. So the Colonel Olcott made it clear, because he was sure that it is HPB. She knows well what happens if we enter into the ES. But those who are daring to enter, those who are pledging to enter and wanted to sacrifice their personal life for the great life, only those are admitted, and for the whatever result comes, I am not responsible as the president of the TS, but it is solely responsible by HPB. This is what H.S. Olcott made it clear. So H.P. Blavatsky's ES paper and instructions to her students have been published in her collected writings. One can read. And let me quote, Annie Besant and W.Q. Judge succeeded Madame Blavatsky as head of the esoteric, and then that was followed by the C.W. Leadbeater, then followed by the C. Jinras Das, then N. Sriram, then I.K. Taimini, and then Radha Bernier, and currently our Linda Oliveira. See, someone is definitely looking after this section of the esoteric school of Theosophy, and they are solely responsible. Members are cooperating and obeying the orders of the head of this institute. This is a separate organization. This is what history I have told you, and it is declared. It is not private as such. In the sense, it is not secret. Well, the purpose of the Theosophical esoteric school of Theosophy is also stated somewhat differently by different people. And Colonel H.S. Olcott, who was the president of the Theosophical Society internationally, when H.P. Blavatsky founded the school, and said in his official announcement of its opening that for what purpose this ES is meant, he said and announced in her opening address officially, and that I read to you. This school or this ESD is to promote the esoteric interest of the Theosophical Society by the deeper study of esoteric philosophy. There is hereby organized a body to be known as esoteric section of the Theosophical Society. So, to fulfill this purpose, let me tell you, regular study is still part of this esoteric school or ES life. That is a discipline, study, meditation, and self-service. But the focus of this study is to understand deeply the principles of Theosophy and to live accordingly as mentioned by Radha Barnier in her letter to the members who are new members rather. So towards this end, the ES offers a spiritual path. That is what we say. Even H.P. Blavatsky offered us the path, and especially the golden stairs. We are aware of that. But that requires a gentle daily discipline, a balanced, centered in ahimsa, harmlessness, goodwill, and more importantly, altruistic attitude. It is only altruism helps members come to establish theosophy as a living power in their lives. So daily practice is grounded in your daily meditation, study, and selfless service. Development of psychic powers or paranormal powers such as clairvoyance are not taught in the esoteric school of the many letters still today come to me. Anything is going on, teaching to rising of Kundalini energy, any psychic power, etc. But it is made clear here, development of paranormal powers such as clairvoyance are not taught in the ES, and also their development is not at all encouraged. The highest aim of the ES is a life of altruism dedicated to the masters of the wisdom in their work for humanity, especially through the Theosophical Society. And remember, service is part of the training. There are no special TS privileges. So if you become ES member, then there is no TS privileges, nothing to do with the TS. If you are a head in the ES, nothing to do in the TS. Remember this. There is no special TS privilege for ES members. Rather, what is your responsibility? Rather, ES membership means a greater sense of responsibility, a willingness to serve wherever one is most needed in the Theosophical Society, in one's family, in one's community, and even in the office where he is working. See, so clear is about this section. So once we understand this, it is important to read sometimes, because this is made publicly given. Even copy of this book, the original program of the Theosophical Society, is available. You can read it. I am giving you a little bit explanation of this, which will help you to understand what they want to say to all of us. Even today, some people ask why masters don't speak directly, why they send the letters. And on page number 67 of this book, HPB answers that master or masters ought to speak, and therefore personally is no sound reason for such an outward interference. It is, however, right that each member, once he believes in the existence of master, should try to understand what their nature, what is their powers are, and he must reverence them in his heart. It is only then he can draw nearer to them as much as in him lies, and to open up for himself conscious communication with his guru to hold Biding, he has devoted his life. And with capital letters, he writes, this can only be done by rising to the spiritual plane where the masters are, and not by attempting to drag them downwards to ours. This is what one of the master's letters, one of the adept says, come out of your world into ours. That means our world is materialistic world and their world is spiritualistic world. So coming out of the materialistic world means coming out of our selfishness into the world of unselfishness. And further she writes, in as much as growth in spiritual life comes from within, members must not expect to receive any other communication than those through HPB. The additional help, the additional instruction and enlightenment will come from the inner planes of being and will, as said, always be given when deserved. So what you deserve, that you will get, not what you desire. So to achieve this, the attitude of mind in which the teachings given are to be received is that which shall tend to develop the faculty of intuition. So the purpose of this esoteric school of theosophy, the purpose of our purification, purpose of preparing ourselves to be fit means to develop our own faculty of intuition. Well, the intuition is rooted in wisdom, whereas the intellect is rooted in the materiality, rather in what we say, we must go from intellect to intuition. So the duty of members in this respect is to refrain from arguing that the statements made are not in accordance with what other people have said or written, or with their own ideas upon the subject, or that again they are apparently contrary to any. Again, we must not compare. You just go deeply, read and contemplate more. Read less and contemplate more. Don't argue. Try to realize it. When we are said to form the nucleus of universal brotherhood, can we become nucleus of universal brotherhood? Can we be ready to radiate love to all, affection to all? Can we be ready to be brotherly with all? All this is independent exercise. So it is with this, even today, every international president used to invoke the helping hand, helping forces, the grace from above. Even if esoteric school is not connected with the TS officially, it has got its own registered society and all those legalities. But as international president of the Theosophical Society, every member, even if he is ES member or not, they have this, you may call tradition or whatever it is a strong belief in every opening of the international convention. The international president invoke, and this invocation states many things to us. And I will quote that invocation. May those who are embodiments of love immortal, may those who are embodiments of love immortal. Who are those? May those who are embodiments of love immortal, because we have not seen the masters of the wisdom, we have not seen the adepts, we have heard it from the H.P. Blavatsky, but we invoke, may those who are embodiments of love immortal bless with their help and guidance this society, means this Theosophical Society, not the EST, but this society, which is founded to be a channel for their work. So this Theosophical Society is founded to be a channel for their work. And then we invoke, may they inspire with their wisdom. May they strengthen with their power. May they energize with their activity, which indicates that how is their nature, master's nature? Master nature is wisdom and compassion. They are definitely energetic. They are not inactive, but they are definitely active. And they have tremendous potential power to bring change. And they are definitely acting as the guardian wall around the humanity. This is what we believe. All the Theosophical Society believes in this, and therefore our convention begins with such a great invocation. It is not mandatory that you must believe in the masters of the wisdom. And therefore, we must at least know. Many people are very curious to know what is the work of the masters, what work they are doing. You said they are active, they are powerful, and they are the wise ones. So let me tell you within last 10 minutes, and then we will have break. It is very important to know to every member of the Theosophical Society. The masters, besides their cosmic activities, they are said to engage in different other works, such as, number one, from the highest sphere, they definitely shed light and influence on the whole world, and that can be used by those who are receptive. They definitely pour spiritual energy for distribution through those specially connected with religions. So again, they are having these blessings on all religions. They send out thought forms of high intellectual power, and they send out these high intellectual thought forms, and they must be caught up, they must be assimilated, and can be used by the genius one. They notify to their disciples certain tasks that need to be done. That means they give hint. Don't know how, either in dream or in hint or gut feeling. They generate thought forms which influence the concrete mind and guide along useful lines. See, they generate thought forms which influence the concrete mind and guide along useful lines. Sometimes they do this. When we read the Mahatma letters, we find all these instances that the genius, they got this thought form, and even the formation of the Theosophical Society was also sent such kind of thought form. And Colonel Olcott could felt it. Immediately, he wrote on a scrap book, scrap paper, and passed on to W.Q. Judge and H.P. Blavatsky, and then they thought over to form such Theosophical Society. This is how the help is given. Helping in the astral world, the so-called dead supervising of and teaching young pupils, sending aid in innumerable cases of need. So they are helping in the astral world also. They are watching tendencies of events, correcting and neutralizing as far as law permits of evil currents. Perhaps they are doing now about this corona also, balancing the forces that work for and against evolution, strengthening the good, weakening the evil. Then they are working with the angels of nations. Again, here one must know that there are such angels of nations who are guiding the spiritual as the angel guide the material, choosing and rejecting actors in the great drama, influencing the councils of men, and supplying the needful influences in the right direction. And they are inspiring those, especially at the end of the century, efforts when one or more messengers they are sending out to stir the world to greater knowledge and progress along some special line, and particularly to break the bonds of orthodoxy, bonds of dogma, and bonds of hardness of thought, which are stumbling blocks in the human growth. And finally, it is said, above all, they are the guardian wall around the humanity within base. So this is what, so basically, therefore, anyone who has signed the pledge without realizing this is free to resign and go out. This is what it is. The Theosophical Society ES is there. There is freedom of thought, and if you are not pledged to this, you should not remain, rather you are free to resign. So the esoteric section is thus set apart for the salvation of the whole society, and its course from the first steps. That is what mentioned in this book, page number 63, last paragraph I am reading. First steps will be an arduous and uphill work for its members, though a great reward lies behind the many obstacles once they are overcome. He who wants to follow the working of his inner self and nature for the purpose of self-mastery has to understand them, and he has to strive them. So with these words, I will end here, and again we will start, because in the one more thing I would like to mention here is in the collected writing, HPB says about this head learning and heart learning, that we will go in the next session. I hope I have taken all the 1 hour. It is a serious subject, no question of doubting and discussing, no discussion, but one has to realize this. I hope now it is for you to decide whether to enter into the Theosophical esoteric school of Theosophy or not. We will discuss it again in the next session. Brother Mahapatra, it is now over to you.
Thank you, sir, for your very illuminating speech. Now we will have a 10 minutes break. And I now request Shekhar's Agnihotri, brother Shekhar, to uh,
Okay, sir. I will share the
share
video.
something for the 10 minutes. Huh?
Yeah. Greetings to everyone. We are now going to listen to a wonderful uh, chant known as Nirvana Shatakam or Atma Shatakam by Adi Shankaracharya in Sanskrit. The meaning will be displayed on the screen in English also. So just give me a minute and
अहं निर्विकल्पो निराकाररूपो विभूत्वाच्च सर्वत्र सर्वेन्द्रियाणाम् मुक्तिर्निया शिवोऽहं 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 शिवोऽहम्
Yes.
Hello, sir. Back to you. Over to you,
Yes.
Pataji.
So now it is over to you for your second session expansions. So now you can start. It is ready.
Yeah, I will start now. So, H.P. Blavatsky made it clear in our collected writings about the spiritual consciousness, psychic consciousness, and our karmic consciousness. See, she has made our spiritual consciousness is seated in our heart, and psychic consciousness is in our head, and karmic consciousness in our navel region. So if we remember these three centers, heart center, head center, and the navel centers. So these are the centers where consciousness works. So spiritual consciousness is in the heart, and psychic consciousness is in the head. So focus your attention from head learning to heart learning. That is her statement in the Voice of the Silence. We must focus our attention from head learning to heart learning. Because head learning is all conditioned. It is our psyche which is influencing our thoughts, behavior, etc. But what we say spiritual consciousness is seated in the heart center. Therefore, meditation in the heart may help you if you focus your attention more to the heart feelings than what your brain and mind thinks. And if you synchronize brain and mind with the heart, perhaps then that karmic consciousness gets purified, and that may help you to raise yourself from this material world to the spiritual world. This is quite possible. Nowadays, we say, even Krishnamurti, he spoke on the ground of humanity is this consciousness. So this is the field, maybe beyond our mind and brain, beyond our desires and all this. And it is the heart where there is spiritual consciousness that can connect to this end or to this spirituality. Of course, this in page number 64, HPB writes, disappointment is sure to come to those who have joined this section for the purpose of learning magic arts or acquiring occult training for themselves, quite regardless of the good of others, people. So there is possibility of disappointment if you are not focusing your attention in the heart feeling. If you don't bring synchronization of mind and heart, there is possibility of disappointment. So the work lies with us. Task is hard, but we must try. So she says, forgetfulness of the personal self and sincere altruism are the first and indispensable requisites in the training of those who are to become, she says, white adepts, either in this or future incarnation. Again, here, white adepts and black adepts, there are shadows also. So if your focus of consciousness is on the karmic consciousness, and if you are doing any hatha yoga, etc., then you enter into the black magic. That also has got a great force. But if that force is rightly controlled for the benefit of others, then it's good, but it is very difficult. So she says, the forgetfulness of the personal self and sincere altruism are the first and indispensable requisites in the training of those who are to become white adepts. So adept becomes, not made. So this is, again, it is mentioned very strictly for all those who are studying these esoteric instructions, etc., and convince themselves, comprehend the things. So let me tell you, the accepted system of thought or philosophy in practical esoteric science, it requires all the mental and psychic powers of the students to be used in examining what is given to the end, that the real meaning of the teacher may be discovered. This is what I am reading from page 68. So he must endure as much as possible to free his mind while studying or trying to carry out that which is given to him from all the ideas which he may have derived from heredity, from education, from surroundings, or from other teachers. His mind should be made perfectly free from all other thoughts, so that the inner meaning of the instructions may be impressed upon him, apart from the words in which they are clothed. Otherwise, there is constant risk of his ideas becoming as colored with preconceived notions as those of the writers of the certain otherwise excellent works upon esoteric subjects who have made the occult tenets more subservient to modern science than to occult truth. Further, HPB writes, in order also that the student may receive as much benefit as possible. It is absolutely essential that the superficial and inattentive habits of thoughts engendered by Western civilization, again she has mentioned here Western, but we all are becoming now westernized. There is no distinction between Western and Eastern. That during that period it was. Therefore, she mentions the thought engendered by Western civilization shall be given up, and the mind concentrated upon the instructions as a whole, as well as upon every word in them. To this end, students are required to practice the habit of careful and constant concentration of mind upon every duty and act in life they may have to do at their disposal, and not to reserve their efforts in their direction for the consideration of these teachings only. The student must make all his desires learn to and center upon the acquirement of spiritual knowledge, so that the natural tendency of his thought may be in that direction. He must therefore, in every moment of leisure, revert to these subjects, as well as have a special time set apart for their consideration. So what is important is, student must not look for tests and trials. Of course, there are tests and trials, but student must not look for tests and trials of special nature. These will come in the affairs of life and in relations with fellow men. Specific tests will not in general be given, but even the manner in which the student approaches these teachings will be in itself a test or trial. So how we approach to these teachings is our test. They have said, have living faith in the masters of the wisdom. How is our approach to this statement? There is a great statement of H.P. Blavatsky. You cannot do good yourself unless you do good to the others. How many of us focus our attention not on our personal agenda, but for the betterment of all humanity? This all self-examination is needed. So the masters do not judge students simply by their ability to do this or that special or difficult thing, but masters judge by the actual self-development and progress accomplished. How much unselfish you have become, how much service-minded you have become, how much honest you have become. That is what noted on the spiritual plane. HPB said in her lifetime, nobody has become a real theosophist. Nobody has learned my teaching except Damodar Mavlankar, she said. See, that was her expectation. She was happy. At least one person has understood this and accomplished this task. And she was very grateful. Gratefully, she has expressed this one. So in entering this section, the student begins to look his own nature in the face, and in accordance with the intensity of his aspirations will be his difficulties. So these difficulties may exhibit themselves on the physiological or mental or moral or psychic planes of his being, or in the circumstances of his life, having signed the pledge, his first failure to keep any one of its clauses is the failure to stand the first trial. Such a failure, however, is not defeat so long as a further sincere endeavor is made. So there are strict rules, and if you are committed, then that punctuality is needed. And it is said, you must become this path itself. That is what HPB said in the Voice of the Silencers. Before you treat the path, you have to become the path itself. So keeping this in mind, we must deliberately practice, I personally think, transforming suffering into the path. How can we transform suffering into the path? Can we look? It is an opportunity in this pandemic period. It is suffering to the whole humanity. How can we transform this suffering into the path? It is only by developing compassion for the person who are in trouble, and also compassion for the person who harms us. So this is how we can transform the suffering into the path. We can transform whatever blame come to us into the path by detaching from that reputation or social recognition. So this is how we must be aware. Then we can transform. It is also a transforming our criticism into the path, transforming betrayal into the path. That is what Colonel Alcott did when he took this pledge to work for the society. So transforming betrayal into the path means trusting betrayed as our past karma. Transforming poverty into the path means self-centered mind is the culprit. That is what we must say. Whatever poverty we have, that means we are not using our intellect properly, honestly, and therefore we are facing this poverty. Otherwise, if we exercise our potentiality with honest, you will definitely gain what you have tried to gain. So transforming poverty into path means self-centered mind is the culprit. There is poverty challenge in the world because it is the inability of human mind to share with. So this all one needs to think on this. Then transforming our wealth into the path, this can be happen by being generous. And even if we are having any power to help, that means it is opportunity for more service. This is how we have to transform our whole thing into the path. So you have to become the path itself. So again, I emphasize, because as ES members, we are more concentrating on the heart feeling. The consciousness, which is merely the animal consciousness, is made up of the consciousness of all the cells in the body, except those of the heart. See, this is important of heart cells. In the heart cells, there is no animal consciousness. In the heart cells, there is spiritual consciousness. And HPB writes in the collected writings, the consciousness, which is merely the animal consciousness, is made up of the consciousness of all the cells except those of the cardiac cells or heart cells. So she writes, Heart is the organ of the spiritual consciousness, but its response needs a force of prana, vitality. So heart is the organ of the spiritual consciousness, but its response needs the prana or vitality. The heart represents, let us remember what to concentrate in the heart, how to meditate in the heart. And in the collected writings, he writes, heart represents the higher triad. What is that higher triad? Will, wisdom, and love. Atma, Buddhi, Manasa. This is what the master at the feet of the master booklet instructed to Alcione, that this triad, will, wisdom, and love, concentrate on this triad, will, wisdom, and love. Then love inspires the will directs the wisdom, and wisdom enables you to act rightly. This is how meditation in the heart, meditation in the spiritual consciousness help you to raise yourself from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Then she writes about the liver and spleen, which they represent the lower quaternary, lower mind, astral, vital body, and physical body. So these liver and spleen, they represent the lower quaternary, whereas heart represent the higher triad. So in this, we may understand this teaching deeply. Heart is the abode of the spiritual man. Heart is the abode of spiritual man, whereas the psycho-intellectual man dwells in the head. And it is therefore HPB said, focus your attention from head learning to heart learning. So HPB's voice of the silence says, turn from head learning to heart learning. Heart is the king of the body. Even the head is cut. You know, even the head is cut in the war. The trunk travels, trunk moves. So heart is the king of the body. That's what she mentions. And that is proved. When the head is cut, the trunk moves. HPB says, in the heart there is a spot which lastly dies. So the death is declared when this spot dies. So in the heart there is a spot which last to die. A spot marked by a tiny violet light, she says. And that is the seat of life, HPB says. So where the life is situated, that is that spot where the life is situated. When yogi, I am quoting this from the value number, I think 7 of collected writing. You can read it and try to realize these teachings. And as long as this remains alive, this point, when yogi is buried in a trance, it is this spot that lives, though the rest of the body is dead. When yogi is burned in a trance, it is this spot that lives, though the rest of the body is dead. And as long as this remains alive, the yogi can be resurrected. So this spot contains potentially mind, life, energy, and will. So when HPB states, turn your focus of attention from head learning to heart learning, it is not only meant to quote or impress the talk, but it is really to intellectualize first, try to go deep into it, try to realize, try to meditate in the heart, So during life, this spot radiates, then she says prismatic colors, fiery and opalescent colors. So heart is the center of the spiritual consciousness, as the brain is the center of intellectual consciousness. Let us remember then, the spiritual consciousness cannot be guided by a person, nor can its energy be directed by him until he is united with the Buddhic consciousness or with the Buddhi Manasa. So if he activates his Buddhi Manasa, then only this spiritual consciousness can guide him. So when we are aimed at intuition, so to attain that intuition, all this knowledge is essential. HPB gave this knowledge. How many of us really seriously study this knowledge is important? That's what she writes. And even if this spiritual consciousness cannot guide, but she says it pinches us when we do wrong things. So it acts as the conscience. Conscience says what wrong we are doing, and we are not able to listen to our conscience. So, brothers and sisters, I think our discipline in the esoteric school of theosophy, as mentioned, SMS, study, meditation, and selfless service. And many occultists have pointed out that information is issued during the last quarter of every century. The message of founding the Theosophical Society is also came in the last quarter of the century, the period 1875 to 1900. Nowadays, there is WhatsApp news. The earth is going to change. Lot of changes are going to happen. All these WhatsApp news are there. We don't know. How can we believe in all this? But we can examine ourselves. The WhatsApp news says, if you say in this period, especially they have given the dates also, from up to 25th May. In this period, if you send good thoughts, etc., you will be raised. Otherwise, you will be rejected. That's what it states. It's true. The positivity will definitely help you. Staying at home is always safe. And it is not that the inner government is not working. Inner government and their work, especially existing of masters of wisdom as living being, the concept of monad and septenary constitution of man, and the cosmos revealed through the theosophical teaching to the world, all need to be deeply understood. HPV honestly declared that she had lifted only a tiny corner of the veil and revealed only a small portion of the wisdom to this fifth race of humanity, because during that period the land was fertile. It was a fertile time for new ideas like universal brotherhood and oneness of life. And it is this corona period also is giving us a lesson to be together, think together with global consciousness, global concern, and approach to the challenges that are coming from outside. This is what the thoughts are coming now. The period in 1975 to 2000, as we know, Krishnamurti period, it was Krishnamurti period where people started thinking about significance of choiceless awareness, because we have become more selective. We select certain things, reject certain things. So such kind of judgmental consciousness is there. So he gave this significance of choiceless awareness, choiceless observation, without any kind of evaluation, And Krishnamurti started his work to make humanity unconditionally free. So with these, I think many questions they ask, but we must understand basically as members of the school, we seek to offer ourselves, or we wanted to become co-workers, both individually and collectively, to those great ones whose minds and energies guide the evolution of the world towards ever deepening spiritual realization. So our mission is spiritual self-transformation. It is possible if you bring this teaching into your living. To this end, what we must remember, two basic principles are: first, we must recognize that our spiritual lives need to be established as regular practice, attuned to the cycles of everyday life, not just ruled by our moods and impulses. We must study, we must meditate, and we must examine ourselves daily, just as routinely as we get up and prepare our meals and retire every day. It is a quiet yet steady reminder of the spiritual reality within which we live, move, and have our being. This invisible environment then definitely affects us, and we can affect it for good. Even our regular practice, regular daily meditation practice makes us far more available than we may imagine for work, both on the inner planes and in the outer world, where needs are so great. We don't say, I don't have time. See, you get time. If you have regular practice, then such person won't say, I have no time. Definitely there is a lot of time, lot of energy we are wasting. So we make use of that time is essential here. Second point, that principle which governs us is, yes, discipline calls for purity of life based on understanding the effects in our individual spiritual lives and in our group action also. We consume and do physically and emotionally need to be examined. This means abstinence from tobacco, from alcohol, meat, and from products of cruelty. It also calls for sexual purity interpreted in the traditional ways. These harmlessness practice of ahimsa. We are definitely violent, we are definitely unkind, but we have to transform our unkindness into kindness, our violence into non-violence. So these harmlessness practices are needed, because we must be kind to our own bodies and also to others and to all sentient beings. So if we are practicing this, then surely there is elevation of our inner lives and make us more effective in the world. One can hardly be harmful then. One can hardly be cruel or exploitive. Oh, you see, exploitation has become the tradition now. Everyone wants to exploit the weaker. So this exploitive towards another without opening oneself to undesirable influence on the inner plane is not good. So at the same time, our yes way of life does not imply moral judgment on others who are on different paths or who hold other values concerning the certain of these points. Like all spiritual paths and like all rules, the yes is of those who inwardly know themselves, they are called to it. We recognize that and trust the day will come when our many pilgrimages meet for the joy and enrichment of us all. Then many people ask question, how ES works collectively? This observant way of life, what I said earlier, as well as cleansing and preparing ourselves as individuals, unites all ES members into a single unit, working together, forming a large consciousness space into a single unit, working together in the inner and outer worlds. This is how the ES members they work together. While ES members can and should be personally active in outer service to the world, as a body, the esoteric school does not perform acts of worldly charity so much as work inwardly with the great ones. So the work of the theosophical esoteric school of theosophy is not visible, but it is on the higher plane, because any manifestation starts from the higher plane. That is what we believe. All outer challenges have got the source in the human mind. If the human mind is changed, then that source will be resolved. So that is what we believe. We are changing ourselves. Self-regeneration. Through self-regeneration, we are, through individual regeneration, we are aiming to human regeneration. We may think of the ES as an orchestra, it is mentioned, in which all members seek to play in harmony so that the music will have the desired effect. Perhaps even producing the wonderful auras and halos raised by great music depicted in thought forms. That is what C.W. Leadbeater depicted in thought forms, how it affects the whole atmosphere. No reasonable conductor would demand that every musician in the world must play exactly the same rhythm and pitch as those in his orchestra. So this point is more important. The variation is the law of evolution. We have this diversity. We have these variations. So this variation needs to be understood and need to be thought over deeply and learn to work together. This is definitely a special work for the world and for inner growth, to which we in the esoteric school feel called for. This is a call for action, not to postpone. It is a call for action. So we invite all who are in sympathy with this way of life and who are in empathy to work together and who have been active in the Theosophical Society at least for 2 years. Only then they can apply for membership in the esoteric school. With these, I think 10 minutes are there. Some questions have come to me, and even on phone they said, even if I am in the EST, why am I not happy? Or even after joining the ES, how I can be happy? Such questions, they come from the members, those who are in the ES and those who are not. But they are asking such questions, and these questions I would like to deal with. How can I be happy? Well, in one word, we can say by entering into the kingdom of happiness, by entering into the spiritual consciousness, which is the heart is the abode of spiritual consciousness. Then if you bring your focus of attention from head learning to heart learning, that may lead to be happy. Just try it. By understanding your own true nature honestly, because you are meditating in the heart, honestly, if you understand your own true nature, what you are, and what is your relationship to your higher self, what we said, Atma Buddhi Manasa, then that will make you free from all burdens. You will be more free to serve. You will get more time. And that is nothing but to be happy. It is not that to be happy means lazy, but you will become more and more active. Second question is, why we suffer even being in the ES? Of course, it is made clear that when you enter such path, this is a return path, a path of Nivrutti Marga, we say, is the path of return. So, of course, why we do suffer? Because of our impurities. Of course, one must know suffering is caused by attachment to the external worlds. And because the source of my happiness is not in the outer world, but in their world. That is what Adapt said. Come out of your world into our world. So unless we understand this, we are attached to our worldly things. Our worldly mind needs to be transformed, and then only we won't suffer in life. Rather, we understand the life. Suffering is also an opportunity. So there will be no suffering. And you know, animals, they do have pain, but they don't suffer. So suffering is our psyche. And where the psychic consciousness is situated, it is in our head. So change your mind, the suffering will change. Then the question comes, where can I find my master? Yeah. See, such questions are asked. I am dealing with these questions because it makes clear to us for what purpose the esoteric school of theosophy is working for long these years. Of course, Radha Barnier was very, very clear about all this. She made us to understand all this basically. So where can I find our master? In fact, he is everywhere. He is pervading the entire universe. As our Buddhi Manasa can connect spiritual consciousness. And this spiritual consciousness is one with the universal consciousness. And if we connect ourselves to this spiritual consciousness, that means we are with the masters. They are in the spiritual world and we are in the material world. So we ourselves raise ourselves to the spiritual consciousness. Perhaps we can recognize, because at spiritual level, we share one intelligence, that is intuition. Then who is our master? The master within is both the intelligent and material cause of individual and the universe. As I said, at spiritual level, we share one intelligence. What is this intelligence? Krishnamurti defined very nicely this intelligence. We all share one intelligence at spiritual level. And this intelligence, traditionally we call it as the Viveka Buddhi. It is to perceive that which is false, that which is illusory, and it is this intelligence gives us courage to reject that which is illusory and which is false. See, if you connect yourself to this intelligence, then you begin to see clearly. And that seeing clearly means there is no question of choice. And Krishnamurti spoke on this choiceless consciousness. Then who am I really? Of course, understand yourselves, meditate daily, saying to yourselves, I am not my body, I am not my mind, I am the eternal Atma without birth and death. Nirvana Shataka, we just heard all this. And be linked with your higher self. And then you will know who you are really. It is only then one will come to know why I am here. Why am I here? It is not my existence, rather, I am here because of my past karma. My current action decides my future karma. Let us remember, past is regression. Present is commission to perfection without omission. See, it is very important. Past is regression. Present is commission to perfection without omission. This is what you must commit to the present. Whatever comes, that suffering, prarabdha, and you make it perfect. So present is commission to perfection without omission, and future is progression. So this is how past, present, and future. Why am I here? Am I here, my existence here, because of my past karma? My current action decides my future karma also. So it is very important to be aware and to deal with the law of karma. Then the question comes, what should I do? Of course, disciplined living with clean life, open mind, pure heart, following the steps of the golden stair to become path itself, that I should perform the right actions with the right attitude without being attached to the results. That is what traditionally in Hindu tradition we say, Nishkam karma. It is a sattvic karma. Nishkam karma, no question of fruit. Sakam karma is rajasic. We have some expectation. We need some result, recognition, reward, and defending for that. And we do hard work. That is all sakam karma. And nishiddha karma, that is the tamasic karma, which need to be avoided completely. So we have this invocation, asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amrutangamaya. So what should I do? I should pray. I should do the right action. Not only the sakam karma, but also our trial must be towards the nishkam karma. It is only then we must avoid all the nishiddha karma. This is what we have to do. So the right action with the right attitude without being attached to the results. That is what Bhagavad Gita also taught. Then how do I reach to the adaptship? Again, I mention here, adapt cannot be made, rather he becomes. So better have gratitude to all, count your blessings, and just need to realize that adapt is in me and in everyone else, but there is difficulty in manifestation because of my imperfection. So if I perfect myself, if I purify myself, I can achieve this goal. Well, this is a very interesting subject Pradeep Mahapatra gave me to talk on. I don't know how much time I have taken, and continuously I have been talking. It is my passion actually to study such deeper things and to examine myself. I don't know how much perfect I am, but I have tried my level best to put these thoughts before you to think seriously. Thank you very much, Pradeep Mahapatra, and all those who have attended and heard sincerely and honestly with good response. Thank you very much. I am very grateful to all of you. Thank you. And wish you all happy White Lotus Day tomorrow. Thank
There
you.
is a question from R. Krishnamurthy, Madurai. What spiritual level have reached? HUB have reached. I don't know what he mean by hub, HUB.
Maybe he means what spiritual level have you reached?
Oh,
Maybe he's asking.
Yeah.
He is asking me.
Yeah.
We can't judge. Nobody can
Probably
judge.
that was
But
easy.
one thing, Krishnamurti, you remember, no spiritual effort remain unnoticed in the spiritual consciousness. So whatever efforts you do, they will definitely be noticed and the result will come to you. But we don't know what result we can't come to know, but the others can know what spiritual achievement we have achieved. I have seen many spiritually evolved people. They have evolved, but one direction. The other direction is not spirituality. So there is a combination. We all are imperfect. We all are physically not active. Emotionally, we are not unselfish. And intellectually, we are also not careful. So all these are the spiritual qualities need to be developed. Attentiveness, alertness, and carefulness, activeness. All these are the spiritual qualities. And one can examine oneself, how far you are active physically, how far emotionally you are unselfish, and how far intellectually you are careful. That is enough. If you look into yourself and see how difference has occurred.
Excuse me, sir. I just got a call from Mr. Krishnamurthy. He is clarifying that his question is what spiritual level HPB reached.
Oh.
HPB reached.
Yeah. This is a good question.
Yeah.
Very good. I have read somewhere HPB was not accepted as the Chela, but she was more than that. She was always with the spiritual persons, with the White Brotherhood, but still she was not accepted. Probably it is said that she was the best one from the earth as far as spirituality is concerned, and therefore she was selected as the messenger that time. So we can't imagine how much spiritually she was evolved, but definitely there are, but such questions we can't deal with here. We can discuss it afterwards in person also.
The next question whether HPB is an adept or not. That is again from Ramurthy.
What?
Krishnamurthy,
Again?
sorry. Whether he is an adept or not.
That is what the same questions he has asked.
See,
How much spirituality is evolved, whether adapt or not. Yes, he is not master yet. That is what it was mentioned.
okay, sir. Sir, just a few minutes back, you told head cut, trunk moves.
Yeah.
What is that?
No,
is there
your
any-
head is this, our head is cut,
Okay.
and only the trunk remains.
Okay.
The trunk moves without head.
Wow.
So, what is it that controls the movement? It is the life which is situated in the heart. Heart is the center of life, and that controls for few movements. We see such instances, warriors whose head are cut, but the hands were moving and they were attacking without head. And we see in our practical also, when frog is amputated, the heartbeat is going on. Even the heart you remove outside, the heartbeat is going on. That is what I mentioned there, because it is that is what HPV has mentioned in the collected writings. The same thing I read.
Brother Shinde, throughout these 2 hours, we have been hearing a very scientific talk, a methodical presentation of what HPB worked for and gave to the Theosophists. If you permit me, I would like to add about the aura. You were telling that collective meditation, collective TS work, etc. It helps to promote an aura in the premises.
Yes.
On aura, there was what is called as Kirlian photography.
Yes.
Brownsky is the scientist who made this Kirlian photography. He used it to take the aura of the persons. The color, the density, the width of the aura tells about the spiritual enlightenment of the person and how altruistic the person is. Am I right, Mr. Shinde? Did I interfere with
Yes,
you?
yes, clairvoyant people can see this. C.W. Ledbetter saw the aura of Krishnamurti when he was 13 years old. Krishnamurti was 13 years old and his aura was completely unselfish. See, and therefore he selected. So there is this fact. If we are unselfish, our unselfish aura will be around us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Brother Shinde.
Okay, Brother Mahapatra ji, no more questions. Would you like to close?
Yes, we can close now.
Rizneker is there. Rizneker, namaste. Namaste. After a long period, I saw you. Yes.
So, Sekharji,
Yes, sir.
before we close, you can sing the closing prayers. Okay?
Okay. 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 Thank you, everyone, for participating in this session. On behalf of Indian section, we would like to thank, first of all, Professor Shinde for yesterday and today giving such an inspiring and insightful talk to all of us and giving lots of pearls of wisdom to ponder over and contemplate over. And also we thank all the participants who participated very interactive in a very interactive manner and took time to be here. And we'll see you again tomorrow during the White Lotus Day celebration. And for now, since we are together and we all study about the thought power and the miraculous effects of the group thought, so let us come together and join me in using all our willpower, all our aspiration and feelings for the welfare of all the manifestation, all creatures, all beings of all the kingdoms, mineral, vegetable, plant, animal, human. And with all our will, let us say this prayer in Sanskrit. We can all say that. The English meaning of it, which is, may all be happy, may no one fall ill, may everyone see that is auspicious, and may no one have suffering. Oh. Sarve bhavan sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukha bhag bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, Sekharji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sir Sundeshar, for your 2-day illuminative speech on original program of Theosophical Society. Short announcement. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. we'll meet again. There is a speech, public speech by Brother Pradeep H. Gohil, President of Indian Section, Work and Life of H.P. Blavatsky. After that, a short ceremony from the members of Kashi Tattva Sabha, Varanasi. That announcement, I must pay my gratitude to all the participants from India, outside India, who joined and inspired us to do such type of programs in future. With these words, namaste to you all, and we will meet again tomorrow at same time. With, if it is more than 100, we have connection with YouTube, and we have given the link earlier, so you can join. If you have not possible to join in Zoom, if it is over the limited link, you can very well join in the that is YouTube link, which is more mean clear, and there is no problem for you to joining in the YouTube link. With these words, again namaste to you all, and we will meet again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you, Pradeep. Thank you, Sikharji. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rijnekar. Ganesh
Thank you.
Kumar.
Namaste to all.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste to all. इकडे आहे खूप लोक